at this in South Florida. This is a South Florida tropical persimmon. And look at this tree. Look at this tree. It's loaded. I'm going to do a video on this soon. But it's the season right now for persimmons. And this grows wonderful here in South Florida. People don't know that. But I highly recommend these persimmons. You have to eat them when they're soft. Look at this. Look at this. Hard to find tree, but if you can get one, definitely get one. And I'm going to be doing a more extensive video on this, but this tree was so beautiful, I had to show it to you. South Florida tropical persimmon, also formerly known as Hudson. This is not a Triumph, it's different, and it grows here. Most persimmons don't grow out here, but this one does. Hello everybody, welcome to Fruitful Trees, and today I'm going to show you a very fruitful tree. Now yesterday, if you didn't see that episode, I'll put it down, or actually it might be a couple of days ago, or depending when you watch this, it might be a couple of weeks ago. Regardless, I was at a lady's property up in Hobe Sound, Florida. She had an amazing property of fruit trees, planting them just close, perfect, and trimming them great, beautiful. But there was one tree that really caught my attention that was absolutely amazing, and that was her persimmon tree. Yes, in South Florida, she has a loaded persimmon tree, and that's what I want to talk about today, go in more detail about that particular tree. In the video, and I'll put a link below to that video, we just touched upon it, but here is my persimmon tree. I have two persimmon trees right now, and I initially had like 4 or 5 persimmon trees. I only have 2 remaining, and I'm going to talk about this. But this persimmon tree here is called the Triumph Persimmon, and as you can see, this year I got 1 persimmon on it. And I'll go over to my neighbor's yard and I'll show you his tree. I haven't checked in a while and see what he has. This is not the tree from the video from yesterday. This one is one of the 2 tropical persimmon trees that'll grow here in South Florida, because persimmon trees need a certain amount of chill hours for most varieties. These varieties are astringent, meaning you have to eat them when they're soft. Unlike something like the popular Fuyu persimmon, you can eat when they're hard or soft, but this one you have to eat when they're soft. So they got some options. You could take them off the tree hard and let them soften up, or you could even let them soften up on the tree. Persimmons tree they'll grow tall and lengthy, but they're not a vigorous tree in general. It takes a really long time to grow tall. So in essence, they could be considered a short tree, not because they don't get big, because they do get big, but because it takes a while for them to get big. And I'm going to go in my yard, in my neighbor's yard, and show you our versions of the South Florida / Hudson variety. And that is the tree we're going to talk about. That's the tree that the lady in the interview had and was discussing and showing us all her fruit. And I actually, she gave me a harvest of fruit to take with me. But this is one of the 2 Triumph Persimmon trees. Now here's the thing. If you're in South Florida and you want to get a persimmon tree, it's not easy. They are not in nurseries for the most part. Now I do know Lara at Lara Farms Miami, he has some persimmon trees on his farm, and he does sell the persimmon tree when they are in stock. I know Mike at Trees and More, who was with me in that other video, is propagating seedlings of the persimmon tree, and that particular persimmon tree, and hopefully when the time's right, he'll have a bunch of persimmons there as well. I know there are a couple of other nurseries that have different variety persimmons with some that were not proven to work here, like Fuyu persimmons and all of that. If you want to test that out, I know Love Nursery in Loxahatchee, they have different type of persimmons other than the Triumph and the South Florida / Hudson. Now, if you're going to get one of those, you're taking a chance. It might work, it might not. If you have the space and you want to experiment, why not get it and see what happens? Because all the rules are broken when you break them. And sometimes there are things like this particular tree. This is a mulberry tree. Supposedly it doesn't do good in the ground. It should be in a pot. Well, this one's in the ground and it's doing great. So, you know, you want to be careful which type of persimmon trees you get and think about that or what to expect from it. Now, another thing is, Julian at Lara Farms Miami, who does get persimmons, he has rootstock persimmon called a Virginiana or something like that. And the thing here is, he suggests, he doesn't say without certainty or with 100% surety that it's always going to be true, but he says it's going to be very helpful if you have a rootstock Virginiana tree to propagate it, because even though they're self-pollinating, they're not going to get a good crop unless you have that tree. Not just another tree, but that particular rootstock one. So he has that, and he also has the Triumph growing there. Now, we also have another thing, besides how much fruit you're going to get and so on, the rootstock you use. Because technically, persimmon and black sapote are in the same family. And I have seen some people suggest and even use black sapote as a rootstock for the persimmon. And that's, I mean, it's exciting news, but, you know, everyone I've heard that's tried it or experimented with it or knows about it said it really doesn't work, because eventually the persimmon will die out. It'll only stay in that rootstock for a little while. So if you're going to get rootstock, either get the one that Julian at Lara Farm's using, the Virginiana, or Mike at Trees and More got some wild rootstock that's grown here suddenly, because most wild persimmons grow up north, and that means the tree probably won't survive here if you use that rootstock. But even if it takes, but Mike seemed to have gotten some rootstock that should do well here. It's just going to take a while before that comes out. So we're going to see this lady today and talk about her persimmon tree, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you my neighbors and my tree. So this is Ruth. Now I'll put the full video with Ruth below here, and this wasn't a clip from the video. A couple of weeks before I went and filmed the whole yard, I went out to see a persimmon tree, and I did this video with the fear or worry that the persimmons were no longer going to be on a tree when I got out there to film a whole yard. But there were still a good amount of persimmons on the tree here in December. Well, actually the end of November. December's in a couple of days, 2024. So she still had persimmons when I did the video, but this clip was taken probably at the beginning of November and loaded. So check that out now. When we come back, I'll show you my neighbor's tree and then mine. Hello everybody, this is Ruth, and Ruth has something amazing to show us. Look what's in Ruth's hand, and that's a persimmon.
Correct.
What type of persimmon is that?
It's a South Florida persimmon.
South Florida persimmon, and it used to be called Hudson, but it's the same variety, I believe. Right?
I'm not sure. This came from a grafted tree originally from Zill.
Yes,
labeled
okay.
South Florida. So.
And how old is this tree? Look at this tree, everybody. It is loaded. We're here about a half hour north from where I am. This tree's loaded. How old is this tree?
Well, I have signage. So if you look, I planted this tree in July of 2017.
2017. So you're looking at almost 8 years?
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. And do you ever cut it or no?
All the time.
All the time.
And it's very, very vigorous.
Wow.
And I really chop it down. And then 2 years ago, there was so much fruit, I had to have bungees everywhere.
So when you say bungees, what do you mean?
This is my bungee cord to hold up the branches when there's a lot of fruit, so it doesn't go on the ground.
Oh, okay. Okay. So do you spray the tree at all?
No. I will spray with copper.
Copper.
Copper and kelp.
Okay. Any fertilizer on the tree ever?
Not on the, I do the fruitilizer from the Rare Fruit Council.
Okay.
Around the base, maybe twice a year.
And so this is the only tree around. It's self-pollinating. It's growing big. You cut it back every year.
Yes, sir.
If you didn't cut it back, do you think it would just have that much more fruit, or do you think you have so much fruit because you cut it back?
I think I have fruit because I keep it contained. And even though I keep it contained, you see how it just...
Sure. And tell us about the fruit in general. Has it fruited every year for you since it started fruiting?
It took about 3 years, and then it's fruited every year. Every year it got more and more. 2 years ago, it was so loaded. I mean, I was concerned it was too much fruit for the tree. Last year was a little lighter, and then this year it's about medium.
And is this the normal season for it?
Correct.
So
yes.
Right now we're in November. So every November...
Yeah, it usually starts the end of October and goes into November.
Okay, and what about pests? Do the pests get to these fruit or not?
No.
Now
No.
these are astringent, meaning you can't eat them when they're hard on the tree. You have to eat them when they're
When they're
soft, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And this is what they look like when they're hard on the tree here.
Yes.
And then,
And then
that's
this
what
is
they look like.
soft. You can see
Wow.
how
Wow, yep, they're
the
ready.
birds were happy.
Oh, that's all right. Well, so
you.
these are ready right now.
They're ready to eat right now.
Now, do you pick these off the tree soft, or do you did you pick them hard? Will they ripen off the tree?
They'll ripen if they're pretty good color. If they're light color, sometimes they ripen, sometimes they don't. But the oranger they are, the closer they are, they'll ripen within a couple of days.
Wow. Do you have any other persimmon trees?
No, I tried the Japanese, the kaki, but we didn't have enough chill hours.
Okay.
I couldn't get it to fruit again.
And what trees do you have? Do you have another tree close to this?
Well, I have a Rollinia behind it that has fruit set.
So,
I'm sorry, reticulata.
okay. Okay.
That has fruit set.
So that doesn't hurt the sunlight on this
No,
tree. Do you
no.
think sunlight's important for this particular
Yes,
tree?
I do.
Okay.
And I had put this so it was fairly well drained, though I understand persimmons don't necessarily need that. But this is a fairly well drained area.
And how's the irrigation on this? Do you water it regularly or no?
When it's dry, I have sprinklers and I water 3 times a week. But now with the rain, nothing.
Okay. What else do you want to say about it?
It's delicious.
Does it lose the leaves every winter?
They turn red.
So they don't fall off?
Sometimes some fall off, some stay on. But they will turn color. They will turn a reddish color.
Okay. And when you cut it, where do you normally cut it when you trim
Well, you
it?
can see here, it's about here.
Okay.
I prune it so it's manageable so I can gather the fruit.
So you leave it around maybe 6 or 7 feet at most?
Within arm length so I can
Okay.
gather fruit if there's fruit.
Okay. And it's interesting. So all those are new growth, so there's
Correct.
nothing. So every year it gets like that. So this is a nice tree for a small space because if you're cutting it, it looks like it's growing up more than wide. So this tree's good for a smaller
Correct.
space.
They say it can get bushy, but you can see all the different, trunks on it. But it stayed manageable for me in this
Sure.
little area.
Wow. Wow. Any comments?
It's a beautiful tree. It's, this is one that we're going to propagate. That's why we didn't cut the limbs. We're gonna try.
We
to
did
propagate.
cut it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gone this big, so
Yeah, I haven't cut it since.
Wow.
We'll wait till spring and see how much we can use.
I have this tree. Unfortunately, it's right next to my orange sherbet. And I just cut back the orange sherbet. But if I have to have one, I'll take this one over that.
Yeah.
But they're really close together.
Yeah, that's a Malika mango there.
Okay.
And the Kent's on the other
No,
side.
size-wise, it's great.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I just wanted to show you all this. This amazing. Look at all the fruit on here. And once a year fruits, right?
Correct.
So when these fruits are done, mid-November or so, then when do the leaves start to fall off?
When the temperature changes and the light changes.
Okay. Nice. Well, thank you for showing us. Thank you.
No, you can't.
Thank you, Ruth.
You're welcome. Thank you
Okay.
very
But
much.
seed,
So this is mostly seedless. There's a few seeds, but
nothing
look
really.
at that.
I mean, they
Very
just
nice.
don't form. See, that's where the seeds should be. There's no seeds in there.
And what about the Triumph? Does that one have seeds, do you think?
I don't remember.
Okay, I think... Well, that's amazing. Amazing. Okay.
Okay.
Let's... All right, everybody. I just got in, and here it is. This is the tropical persimmon I just got from the tree that's soft. And this is the Fuyu persimmon that I got from Sweet Georgia Fuyu Persimmons. So you can see the difference in the color. And these will get red when they get darker sometimes, but these are soft and ready to eat. Grown here locally. All right, everybody. Wasn't that special? That tree that Ruth had there. So amazing. Well, I mentioned I one time had 5 persimmon trees. Well, what happened to the rest? Where'd they all go? Well, it's quite interesting. I got 2 tropical persimmon trees. And I was at another nursery, and they were saying, you're not going to get many persimmons. And pretty much they talked me out of keeping them both. Well, actually, not to keep them both. I had them planted next to each other. I tried to move one to another spot. And it did good for a while. But it ended up dying eventually. Like a couple of years later, it ended up dying. But don't, if the leaves fall off, it's not dead. The leaves should fall off every winter. In a previous video, I erroneously said the leaves fall off in the summer, but it's the winter when they fall off. But that doesn't mean it's dead. That's just a natural process of the persimmon tree. As a matter of fact, you can get fruit on the tree and have no leaves. That's how cool the persimmon tree is, or interesting it is. But so one of them died. Well, that one I moved, it died, and then another one just previously died. But I still have two remaining. I have one Triumph and one South Florida. This tree here is a South Florida persimmon, the same one that was in the video. And this one here is interesting. No persimmons on this tree. So, nothing. So it takes a while. So you have to be patient if you're going to get a persimmon tree. If you're blessed enough to find a persimmon tree, it's going to take a while, so you need to be patient. But this is my neighbor's persimmon tree, and in size, it's almost identical to mine. And even my other one, I'll show you. Now, this has had persimmons, a good amount of persimmons last year. And again, the downside to this versus the fuyu and the other ones that grow in colder environments is this one you have to eat soft, and the other ones you can eat hard. And there's so many benefits to that happening, or soft. But that is a persimmon tree on my neighbor's yard. Now let's go and look at my tree. And again, if you want to see an updated clip of Ruth's persimmon tree for a couple months later from when I did that clip, I'll put that link below. Now let's go over to my yard in the back and look at my South Florida Hudson variety. But this will grow. This is a wonderful spot. This is excellent. And as you see, what Ruth did in her video is she would cut these back every year because eventually they just keep going straight up and straight up. I don't know how often he trims his, but it's pretty cool. As a matter of fact, seeds dropped. This is really cool. He originally planted this tree, and there's two other trees now growing. There's two other trees growing. These are from seeds from this tree. Now, those two are seedlings, and persimmon is not true to seed. So he's probably better off using those two as rootstocks and try to replant this on there. That would be his best bet. Or even better, if he can get the rootstock from Julian at down there at at Lara Farms, what he could do is he could get that rootstock and put it on here, and that'll pollinate this, and it'll be even better. So that'd be his ideal situation. If he did that, then he'd have it right next to it and be able to pollinate each other. But that's his persimmon tree. Hey everybody, I just spoke to my neighbor, and he actually did graft these two seedlings. So great minds think alike, right? There you see the graft of one of them, and there's the graft of the other. And what he put on here was the Triumph that I have in my front yard. So this is the South Florida / Hudson one, and this one's the Triumph one that he put in my front yard. And they are different species of varieties, so they should pollinate each other. But what Julian at Lara Farms was suggesting is, unless you get that rootstock, the Virginiana, they're not going to pollinate each other as well. But that's the persimmon tree. How long have you had this?
Well, some years. Now the rootstock from this one here came out the bottom and sprouted those two on their own.
Was it the rootstock, or was it the actual seeds from the?
No, the rootstock itself. The root traveled underground and then shot up shoots in two different places. Three actually, and I cut the other one off. And at one point I was going to take and dig
It's quite interesting. So that's all one tree. It's not separate trees with seeds.
Right.
Interesting, everybody. So there's my correction. So note that. That's one tree, and it's not that the seeds fell, it's the same tree. So it's like a multi-grafted persimmon tree right here. And it'll be interesting to see how it pollinates each other and how it works. But that's really nice and exciting. And how easy or hard were they to
extremely
top work?
easy to graft, but they've never fruited yet. It's not that old.
Now this is fruited.
No, I don't think so. Has it?
I believe this has. Okay. I'm almost sure this one has.
I might have been
But
wrong.
Those rootstocks haven't fruited.
No, definitely they haven't. And
yes.
I haven't seen fruit on any of them, but I'm not here much.
Yeah, I remembered fruit on that one. Now you don't have another one, do you?
No, that's it.
Yeah, so that was fruit on there. I saw some. I'm sure of it. Okay, well, we're going to go look at mine, but that is, that's what my neighbor did here. So, and he said they're pretty easy to top work. So,
yeah. All
right, thank you. Okay, everybody, so we're in my yard now. Sorry about the background noise. My neighbor decided to pressure wash his driveway today. Well, anyway, We're here in front of my tree. I'll turn the camera around and show you. This is my Hudson / South Florida variety, the same one that Ruth had in the video. And it's in a much more crowded spot. I only have one there. It's not extended out like my neighbors, but I did trim it up. So it might have been, but I had a lot of fruit on it this year, a good amount. And my tree's a little older, maybe 6 months older than my neighbors. I had a good amount of fruit on here, but sadly it all fell off. And this tree was really covering it. That's my orange sherbet back there. That was really shading out this tree a lot. It still is, but I cut that one back a lot. And now this one has more room and more space. So I'm going to see how it does. Eventually I'm going to have a decision to make, because if this tree gets loaded like Ruth's tree, orange sherbet, I might have to trim that back more or figure something out with that, maybe move it, because this tree, it's not that it's more valuable than that tree, because that's a great mango. It's just that I don't want to move it and take the chance of killing it like I did my other one. But it's just, it's not more valuable one than the other, but this is a winter tree. This is in season now. And there's no mangoes in season now. There's very little fruit in season now compared to the summertime. So I guess this is more valuable for my situation. And I only have one. I have a ton of mangoes. So, but I could also cut that back a lot more if need be. And it's interesting because I cut this side. I left that side. So I'm still going to get a lot of mangoes up there. I cut the top a good amount, but I just cut this side out. And if you look at it, you could see how far that went and how far that could go. And I cut that back that much. So I'll make another video about cutting back mangoes and also cutting down the area at the bottom. But regardless, this is my persimmon tree. And it's great. Now let's go take a look at my persimmons that I got from Ruth. Okay, everybody, here are some of the remaining persimmons I got that Ruth gave me. And at first glance, you would think these are Fruitful Persimmons, because they look almost identical. However, by the way, thank you, Ruth. However, these they appear to me to be much more orange. And this one's hard right now. She pulled these off the tree a little hard. And they must get soft, and really soft, because if you eat, like this one is a little soft. If you get a Fruitful Persimmon and you eat it a little soft like this, to me that's the best time to eat Fruitful Persimmons, but you could eat Fruitful Persimmons hard. This one, even though it's a little slightly getting soft, it is still not ready. It needs to be fully soft all the way around. So keep that in mind. And that's what a lot of people do. They might taste persimmon and eat it when they're not supposed to, and they'll be like, oh, that's terrible, I don't like persimmon. If you eat persimmon at the right time, persimmon is one of the sweetest fruits you will ever eat. Absolutely amazing. And if you can get a tree, I highly recommend it. Check out with Mike at Trees and More. And check out Julian at LauraFarmsMiami.com. I'll put both those links below. Those are the only two nurseries I know that have one of these two persimmon trees at the time, currently. And like I said, Love Nursery has different varieties. You could check them out. I'll put a link to them as well. Maybe they got these in as well, but I know they have those varieties. And yeah, that is something I'm really excited about. So I've been eating these recently, and it's interesting. Not only is it persimmon season here in South Florida, but it's interesting the way it works, because it's persimmon tree pretty much all over the country now. So right now in the snow up northeast, people have wild persimmons growing. Out in California, people have persimmons going. So that's why I'm able to go to the store right now. It's probably November. November is the peak month. I'd say the end of October, maybe to the end of the year. You can go to the supermarket or a local store and find persimmons. And the two most common persimmons you'll find is, number one is called Fruitful Persimmon. And the other one is called Haichia persimmon. Fruitful persimmon are the small ones that are hard, and Haichia are bigger, but they're astringent, but they need to get way soft before you eat those. Those are the sweetest, best flavored ones in my opinion. But I take
Probably of all of these, if I had one variety I like, it's the Fuyu, because you could eat it hot or soft. But I'll be very happy if my tree was loaded the way Ruth is loaded, because her tree, I mean, easily over 100 persimmons she got. And it's almost December and they're still on the tree. So that is persimmon, everybody, in South Florida. And that's Ruth's tree. Thank you for watching, everybody. Put your comments and questions below. Are you growing persimmon here in South Florida? And how is it working for you? I just thought there's a place called Miami Fruit. And if you want to taste one of these tropical persimmons, before they got their property, there was a fellow, I think his name was Bill Lazard, who had the property. He had a ton of persimmon trees there. And he passed on. I think it's one of the reasons they decided to buy that property. So now they have those persimmon trees. And they sell those persimmons in the mail. And I would assume they have them right now because they're in season if they still have some left. MiamiFruit.com, I believe it is. I'll put a link below to that, so check that out. Worth it to at least taste them. Because I imagine since these persimmons are so scarce, these tropical persimmons, that cost more. But I think they're worth it to get to at least taste them. I'm a big proponent of tasting as many different varieties of fruits possible, to see which one you like the most, especially if you're going to plant a tree and you want to see which one you're going to plant. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. If you're growing fruit trees here in South Florida and you'd like me to come out and check out your property, contact me. I'd love to film and feature you on the channel. Put your comments and questions below. Until then, everybody, have a great day and keep growing. For more educational videos about mangoes and other fruits and how to grow fruit trees, please look out the other videos on this channel, Fruitful Trees, and also subscribe if you like, and also share these videos with others. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and keep growing.